back to the Off-Grid family. Today I'm getting my main PC and I'm cleaning it out and doing a few things that I need to do. I accidentally broke off the fan, the main fan that blows air into it or takes it out, I can't remember which way around it is. It was making a horrible noise, so I sort of started to pull on it and just ripped it off by mistake. I also need to put some CPU paste in between the CPU and the heatsink. For some reason mine went all crusty and horrible, and I've only just had enough money to be able to buy some new stuff. So I'm doing that, and also I'm just going to de-dustify it. It's absolutely filled with dust, they always are. So I'm going to get on with that, and hopefully then it will cool my computer down, because I was trying to render you guys a video last night and the temperatures went up to about 96 and various other, that's degrees C, and that's just on the CPUs. Normally they go around 65, so I knew there was an error, you know. So I'll get on with that, and so I'll just show you tricks and tips on how to sort out your PC if it is overheating. Mainly it's dust. The dust gets everywhere, and just giving it a good spray out often helps quite a lot, especially in the heat sinks and the fans. But yeah, I'll do a few more things, and hopefully it will help my PC so I can keep making videos. Let's get on. First thing, make sure it's plugged in but not on, and that will mean it's all earthed. Take off the side cover. Mine's not screwed in anymore or anything, so I do this quite often to fix it and so on. Okay, those fans can do with a clean. And now in here, obviously, if you can see, the main CPU fan is absolutely coated in dust and so on, and it's also got no paste between the fan's heatsink and the actual CPU, so I'm going to do that today as well. There's three reasons why this is overheating. It's absolutely caked in dust. There's dust on all the fans and so on and so on. There is no paste between the CPU and the actual heatsink, and my fan was making a noise and I sort of accidentally pulled it off. So I need to sort all three of those things out today. First thing I'm going to do is start getting rid of some of this dust. I usually would use compressed air in a bottle, but I don't have any left, so I'm using my air pen, and I'm just going to spray it as much as I can. If I had finished my benchtop power supply now, I could have suction getting all the actual dust away, but I haven't, so I haven't got any power at the moment. Now I'm not too worried about getting the dust out of this, because when I take it off I can do a better job of it. Right, now I've just given this a wipe down with a very, very slightly damp cloth. It's not even, not even anywhere near very wet or anything. I will advise you now, if you don't know what you're doing, do not have water anywhere near your computer in any way at all, okay? One little thing I like to do, because I've got the compressed air or whatever out, is I spray all of the USB ports and everything, because there's always bits of stuff get stuck in them, and it's just nice, it gives better conductivity and so on. I actually had a USB port that just stopped working, and I just assumed I'd snapped something off in it, and after giving it a spray it worked fine, so obviously there had been dust trapped or something trapped in it that was stopping it working. like lumps of stuff like that come out. Obviously I haven't taken as good care of this as I'd like to, but this is like my work computer, so it needs to be top form, and I don't really treat it very well. If you know enough about computers, you could take everything out. You know, this is the graphics card, and I could take that out and I could give it a proper good clean and stuff. But I don't have the time. I've got guests coming later. Well, when I say guests, loads of kids to come to play with my kids. So it's going to be so noisy in here that I won't be able to record anything anyway. My next job is to carefully take out the take off the heatsink from the CPU, which has now got stuck. There you go. As you'll see, the heatsink has no heatsink plaster on or any kind of heatsink adhesive. And that is because for some reason it went all crusty and horrible. I think it was cheap stuff I used when I built this. So what I've been doing to keep the heat down until I could get some was spraying the heatsink as much as I could with compressed air just to keep the hair out. And that works, you know, you have to do it quite regularly. But now I've got some, it's this stuff here, and I can use that in a minute. But first I want to just spray out all of the hair and the muck. Obviously this is a lot easier to do if you have it in your hand rather than in the computer. If your fans are particularly mucky, mine aren't too bad because I've kept this one quite clean, you can use a little bit of nail varnish remover on a cotton bud and just wipe it all off. But just be careful, you don't want to drip that anywhere, especially if the computer's on. Okay, so that's that cleaned and cleared. A little bit of spray on here. With this heatsink plaster, a good rule is to put a blob about the size of a pea into the centre. About that much. That might be a little bit too much actually. And then come on, plonk it back on. Now, as you'll see, it's trying to slide all over the place, and that is because the heatsink stuff has now sort of spread out, and it's now solid back down there. So that's good. That's all done. That's as simple as that. You know, as long as you don't touch the CPU or anything, that's as simple as that. And what happens is you put your pea-sized bit in, and it just squishes down and spreads across it, and that should now have covered the entire chip in it equally, and then it can actually chuck all of its heat, hopefully, into the heatsink and fan. One thing I did once after clearing all of this out was not plug the fan back in, and I couldn't understand why it was overheating for simple tasks. So put that back in as quickly as possible, just so you don't forget. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is the fan here. Okay, so first things first, turn it over. We want to unscrew these. Can't believe how much crap's still in it. Now obviously when it comes to the last screw, make sure you're holding the fan so it doesn't just fall straight into your computer. Now to find out where it's connected. There. Let's have a look what connections I've got. There. Now if you had a new fan, you'd just be able to take that one out and put this one in. But I don't have a new one, I've got an old one. So what we're going to do is we're going to solder this one to the same wires as that one. It's not major amounts of work. If you can't solder, then you could twist tie them together and then like heat shrink tube them, or you know, some electrical tape or whatever, and that would work just fine. You might just have to have a look at it every now and again and fix it, you know, retighten your twists. Right, as this is completely rubbish, do you know what? So all I'm going to do is separate the wires, strip them, possibly, okay, first thing, I'm going to put a heat shrink tube on the wires. I'm going to do it on the wires to the fan just because they're longer, you know, otherwise I'd have to strip the other ones to get it down far enough so it's not, it doesn't get shrunk by the heat of the soldering iron. One. It's like threading needle almost. Okay, and then it's a case of just twist tying these two together to start with. They're a bit hard for me to twist tie, so I've had to do them in a different way, and hopefully the heat shrink will fit over the top. If not, I'll have to use some different stuff. Right. Now obviously I am not going to solder directly into my computer. I will, but with a bit of safety. This is the glass that was sent to me for my 3D printer, but it was just put in a bag and sent like that, and that's what it turned up like. They did give me my money back, but I thought, how are you going to make any money sending them in just those polythene bags you get? That was it. Okay, so again, like with all my soldering, all you want to do is heat the wire, give it a touch with the solder, and that's it done. I'm actually using the solder to move the wire out of the wire, you know, so it's over the glass. Right. Right, my camera just died. It was absolutely full, so I don't know how much you guys saw of me screwing this in, but I've soldered it in. I have heat shrink tubed the soldered ends, so now the fan should, fingers crossed, work. And I think I'm putting it in the right way. I always get confused, but we'll see. I'm sure I have. One thing I always like to do after putting anything new in is grab my zip ties and just make sure all the cables are out of the way, because a cable can quite easily get inside a fan and that might shred off the insulation, and then that might touch something. So you always want to just find what you've this is what I put in. So what I'll do is I'll get a zip tie and I'll zip tie it to that. Try not to touch anything if you can avoid it. The less you touch, the less likely it is you'll break something. Okay, that's it. I'm going to do one more spray around with the compressed air just to get all the little bits of dust out, and then I'm going to put the lid back on. Now again, remember to plug this in. And there we go, we should be done. Now, considering I clean that out quite often, look how much dust was in it. Look at these fur balls. It's incredible, isn't it? Okay, so I hope that helped some of you. If you've got a PC that's running a bit too hot, maybe one or all of the techniques or whatever will help you. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye.